Welcome to Shorty's SuperCoach and welcome to another player profile. Today I'm going to have a look at a man who could end up being a bit of a smoky for our backline. You never know how the pre-seasons go, but at this stage he doesn't seem to be a man who's been spoken about a lot. He certainly is in a few teams, but I think he is certainly worth considering, and that's Zach Williams. I think a lot of people, when we're looking at our backlines, they're talking about Laird, they're talking about Hurley, Yo, of course, Hibberd, and all those guys I think are being spoken about. And often the backline can be one where we go a little bit lighter in terms of premiums, but that might be different this year. I don't think the forward line's offering a stack of premium options at the moment, but that could be a conversation for another day. But look, I think Zach Williams has to be discussed, and I'll take a look at him today. So what are we looking at for him? 516k, averaged 93.9 last year. That was nearly 5 points up, a bit more on his 2016 average of 88.2. So doesn't have a stack of history in terms of scoring big points, but he is a young man. Of course, that followed his 2015 of 69.6 where he really broke out. He's just 23 years of age, the 76 games. So, of course, he's shown signs that he is going to be the Giants' rebounding defender and a real aggressive player off the back line. I guess we talk of Heath Shaw as well and Nathan Wilson now. We all know that Heath Shaw has really dropped away in terms of SuperCoach value. I'm not too sure if he can return to it, but that is also another story for another day. I'll profile him at some point in time. And of course, Nathan Williams, another rebounding defender, while he doesn't have the quantity of Williams, certainly did use him off the back line quite a bit for a bit of rebound, did the Giants. He is now gone as well. Now, of course, sometimes having good players around one another can benefit each other, but I think, as we know, the Giants have plenty of options for aggressive attack off the back line and through the midfield. I don't think Williams is going to get absolutely set on all the time. So I think the departure of Wilson and an ageing Heath Shaw, who potentially is into his twilight and more so playing lockdown, it seems, I think that does Williams a couple of favours. Now, I look at his season and it's quite interesting to look at. Almost a tale of two halves. Now, his first 11 rounds, he looked like the player that everyone thought he was going to be, because he has been touted as a guy who'll be very SuperCoach relevant in the years to come. And the first 11 rounds shown that. Very consistent, 99.9. And he really didn't drop under the 90 points all too often. And that's, I think, what we can really like about him. He is a consistent player. But after that, not exactly sure what's going on there. Now, he did miss a few games between rounds 14 and 17. He was out for a couple with injury. Round 12, just before the bye, scores 63. Round 14, after the bye, 49 points. Then he misses those few games. So only someone who watched it closely or follows the Giants very closely could tell me if he was injured in either of those games or if he was just out of whack. The time on ground suggests that he didn't spend any drastic time on the bench, but maybe he was just slightly out of form, maybe slightly out of niggle. Nonetheless, he missed a few games after that. And he didn't return too much better. A couple of good scores, played a ripper against the Tigers, scored somewhere in the 130s. But aside from that, it was fairly poor. Last, I think it was 7 rounds of the season, given he missed a couple, average of 86.5. So how do we assess that? What was going on there? Again, I don't get to see the Giants a stack, given that Melbourne TV doesn't really highlight them too often. But I think there is enough there for us to strongly consider him. I'd like to hear if anyone does know why the later scores were a bit slower than his early and good start to the season. The way I look at it is I think Williams is a bit like the Giants as a whole. We know they've got the talent. We really have high expectations for them, but it just hasn't quite clicked yet. It hasn't quite clicked throughout a whole season, but we feel as if it's going to. So I think Williams is a bit like that. Put it this way, I feel that he will be a top 6 defender. So I think at some point in the season you're going to want him, and he's probably not going to get too much cheaper. I mean, the 94, let's call it 94 average of last year, I think that's reasonably underpriced. Maybe if it's even only 30 to 40k, but I think he is a genuine chance to average 100. What I really like about him is his aggressive nature off that back 50, and the Giants do like to have the ball in his hand And the reason is obvious. He's a damaging kick, and he takes that dangerous kick more often than not. Sometimes this can equate to the odd clanger, we know that, but I do feel that it's a risk worth taking, and that's where he can get some really good points, because run off the back line, good ball use, loves to take a daring kick, and can start a lot of scoring chains from the back line. So the fact that Doherty is also out for the whole season, I think we've got to start looking at a couple other guys as well. I mean, a lot of people will lock in Laird and they'll lock in Yo. I think those two guys are absolute no-brainers. You could mount cases for Hurley and Hibberd. I think some people will call them a lock. Other people will have to consider for various reasons. But I think blokes like Brandon Ellis, Jeremy Howe, if I haven't mentioned him already, and Zach Williams are perhaps not left field, but slightly second tier guys with the capability of being your fourth or fifth best defender, and really worth taking the punt on, I feel. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Where am I as an absolute verdict on Williams? I must say in my mock team right now he is there, but by no means is he locked and loaded. I mean, another guy's Jake Lloyd. Big fan of Lloyd. Underpriced, similar role. You know, there's a lot of these guys. It's going to be interesting to see. So for me, he is in my team, as I said, but he's certainly not locked by any means. We'll have to see how the preseason goes. A guy like him, probably want to see him have a good preseason, see that he's playing that real SuperCoach friendly role, which I dare say he will be. There's no reason why he wouldn't, and I think the Giants need a guy like that to burst off the back line with some good ball use. But we do know that sometimes it doesn't always equate how our expectation works, and the potential seems to say so. So we should definitely keep a close eye on him, but at this point in time, he is in my side. So by all means, comment away and let me know your thoughts. I'll get round to a few of those comments probably by the time this one's posted. It's good to see a few comments there. I'll probably look to bang a few of those out and answer those every 2 to 3 weeks and hit them out in a bulk lot. And to be fair, there probably isn't a stack to change my mind on what I've already said on the video come this stage, because we haven't really seen too much pre-season, nothing to really sway anything we're thinking already. So certainly probably another few weeks before we really get our teeth stuck into it, but looking forward to that. So stay tuned, subscribe away if you haven't already, like the video, comment as I said, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.